Hi, a very good morning to you because you just decided to click on my video. And anyone and everyone who decides to subscribe to my channel will get extra good vibes from me and the mountains. यार मुझे ना बैठे बैठे एक आइडिया आया कल गाड़ी में एक्चुअली आई वांट टू स्टार्ट लाइक डूइंग अ सेक्शन ऑफ मी जस्ट talking to you guys, just a heartfelt conversation, not practice, nothing, just raw and out there. And let's call this Tea Talk with Brinds, because coffee with Brinds will be too mainstream, right? So, welcome to episode 1 of Tea Talk with Brinds. On today's episode, let's talk about my first time on the mountains and why I never stopped coming back. So let's rewind back to college time. After graduating from school, when I had to choose college and just college में मेरे को admission मिला था, they also luckily had a campus in Shimla. And as soon as I got to know that, I was just like, अब तो शिमला जाना पड़ेगा, right? And इससे पहले the only number of days that I had spent on the mountains was probably not more than 5 or 6 days, because मैं सिर्फ अपने parents के साथ जाती थी on like small vacations here and there. And हिमाचल में ज़्यादा आई भी नहीं थी. We majorly used to go to Uttarakhand because my dad studied in Dehradun and he was very familiar with the place. तो जब मेरा college start हुआ, I realized that the environment in my college was not very open and not very outgoing, like as somebody would say. ज़्यादा लोग कुछ भी लोग travel नहीं करते थे, and मैं एक बिल्कुल ही soul mindset से गई थी कि मेरे को पहाड़ों में ट्रैवल करना है, मेरे को और पहाड़ देखने हैं, मेरे को और जगह देखनी है, मेरे को और जगह एक्सप्लोर करनी है. एंड आई न्यू एट दैट पॉइंट दैट यू मिस अ लॉट व्हेन यू ट्रैवलिंग विद योर पेरेंट्स. सो आई ऑल्सो वांटेड टू ट्रैवल ऑन माई ओन, एंड दिस इज 2013. या 2013. एंड स्कूल में भी मैंने ऐसा कोई वेकेशंस नहीं कि ऐसा क्या, मतलब मैंने I never went anywhere with my friends except for like couple of sleepovers, and I was a very protected child, so I was very motivated to get out of my comfort zone also. तो college के first year में ही I realized कि यहाँ पे तो लोग travel नहीं करते, especially लड़कियाँ. Everyone was very protected and everyone was very scared. The only people who were traveling were the local boys who were already from Himachal. तो वो लोग इधर उधर घूमते थे, एंड मेरे को देख के बहुत चिढ़ मचती थी कि यार मैं क्यों नहीं जा पा रही. एंड इट वॉज ऑल्सो वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू कन्विंस माई पेरेंट्स कि मेरे को ट्रैक पे जाना है. दे वुड बी लाइक, क्या ज़रूरत है, क्यों जाना है, ये हो जाएगा वो हो जाएगा. सो इट वॉज़ वेरी डिफिकल्ट. सो फर्स्ट ईयर चला गया, सेकेंड ईयर चला गया, एंड उसके जब सेकेंड ईयर ख़त्म हुआ, फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर ऑफ माई थर्ड ईयर आई स्टार्टेड हैविंग लाइक अ लिटिल, मेरे को थोड़ा पैनिक होने लग गया कि यार शिट, अब तो कॉलेज ख़त्म हो रहा है, अभी ट्रैवल नहीं किया तो कब करूँगी. बिकॉज स्टेइंग इन शिमला आई वाज क्लोजेस्ट टू द माउंटेन्स देन आई वाज एवर गोइंग टू बी. सो आई वाज लाइक ये थोड़ा इस मौके का फ़ायदा उठाना पड़ेगा. बट ऑफकोर्स बेटर लेट देन नेवर. सो थर्ड ईयर के फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर में, सो आई हैड लाइक अ लिस्ट ऑफ ट्रैक्स दैट आई वांटेड टू कंप्लीट बिफोर आई ग्रेजुएटेड. उसमें से फर्स्ट था त्रिउंड, बिकॉज आई न्यू इतना मुश्किल नहीं है, इट्स अ गुड ट्रैक टू स्टार्ट विद, एंड उस टाइम इतना पॉपुलर भी नहीं था. दिस वॉज 2015, yes. I was so hell-bent on going, and मेरे को कोई मिल नहीं रहा था. There were not many people who were willing to go. So I told one of my friends who was a senior, I was like, यार अब तो जाना पड़ेगा. Let's gather whoever is ready to go, and I don't care who comes along. कौन आता है, कौन नहीं आना चाहता. I just want to go. If there's nobody by the end of this day who agrees to come, I'll just go with you alone. I don't really care. तो somehow we managed to get like 8 people, which was crazy because इससे पहले कोई मान नहीं रहा था मेरी बात जाने के लिए. And we were like 8 people. A lot of them were my juniors, and एक मेरे बैच की लड़की थी. So while I was on the trek, this was the first time I was doing also a trek. So मेरे को बहुत मज़ा आ रहा था. I've always been a very outdoor person. I like doing being outdoors and being a little adventurous. तो हमने जब start किया था, I somehow excluded myself from the entire group. And there were 2 girls with me who were walking with me, and हमें रास्ते में एक केरला का बंदा मिला था who was very frustrated from his job, and he just left and came for this trek. And I was like, wow, this is probably going to be me in the next 3 to 4 years. कि एक बारी तुम जॉब से फ्रस्ट्रेट हो जाओ और ट्रैक करने आ जाओ all the way from Kerala. And yeah, this is what I have become now. So yeah, wow. एंड जब हम ऊपर पहुँचे थोड़ा मौसम ख़राब था एंड आई न्यू, सो आई हैड सीन द वेदर बिफोर कमिंग. आई न्यू कि इस डे पे मौसम ख़राब होना है. जिस दिन हमने पहुँचना था आई न्यू कि शाम को थोड़ी बारिश होनी है. सो आई वॉज प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर इट. एंड द रेस्ट ऑफ द ग्रुप आई हैड नो आइडिया कहाँ थे बिकॉज दे वर लाइक 5-6 people. They were also carrying a tent, so that might have been the reason, you know, they were slowed down. And जब हम ऊपर पहुँचे तो त्रियुंड से सामने धौलाधार, you know, range दिखती है. It was all covered by clouds by that time because I knew it was going to rain. साथ से कुछ नहीं होता. तब तक भी मैंने कुछ देखा नहीं था. I just reached on top and I was like, wow. I was very happy. I was very proud of myself. And you know, when you finish a trek and you know you feel like you've accomplished something so big, that's what I was feeling and it was amazing. So half an hour into reaching there, एक तो हमें 3 और लोग मिल गए थे हमारे कॉलेज के. So we are now 11 people and obviously we just decided to stay together because obviously हम same कॉलेज से थे. There was a hailstorm. कुछ नहीं होता, हम एक छोटा सा चाय का स्टॉल था, हम अंदर घुस गए. फिर 5 मिनट बाद it got worse. बहुत ओले पड़ने लग गए. मतलब वो बेचारा टी स्टॉल का दरवाज़ा भी बंद नहीं हो पा रहा था. The winds were so strong. And honestly, obviously मैंने इतना बुरा मौसम तो कभी देखा नहीं था. I wasn't scared, but I was like, okay, क्या हो रहा है ये? I knew it was gonna rain, but this is, I mean, turning out to be a little bad. Now, I knew the rest of my group was on their way. And I was like, I just hope these guys are safe because I know they don't have an umbrella. They don't, and there's not really a place to, you know, take shade. So I was just hoping कि ये लोग ठीक है and they've strategically managed to get away from the storm. 45 minutes into the storm, it starts to snow. 45 minutes. Mind you, ये hailstorm 45 minutes का hailstorm था. And obviously by that time I was scared. Not only about what we are going to do, but also scared for the rest of my group who we had no idea where they were. So जैसे ही snow होने लगी, I saw my senior, my friend who was my senior, come in and he's like, oh my god, you guys are here, thank god. And I was like, oh, you know what happened? Like तुम बीच में hailstorm था and तुम कहाँ रह गए थे? We've been waiting for you. It's been 1 hour. What happened? And so they were just taking their own time, but they were fine. None of them was wet and none of them got hurt, so it was all good. But अब एक problem थी. ऊपर जो लोग थे, everyone had already bought a space and bought, you know, tents to stay in. And जब तक हमने decide किया था कि हमें भी camp करना है, there were the tents that these guys had were over. The guy in this, you know, who was running the tea stall was like, मैं तो वापस नीचे जा रहा हूँ, अभी मौसम और ख़राब होगा, because it was not, you know, बर्फ़ पड़ना रुक नहीं रही थी. And we were like, अब क्या करें? So वहाँ पे, I don't know if you know, but there's this little guest house in Triund, at the top of Triund. It's just basically a room and तुम्हें धर्मशाला से नीचे से booking करनी होती है if you wanted. So when I just reached, I went up and I checked, it was empty. So I just remembered कि you know, that place is empty. We can go there and see if all of us will, you know, fit and just like go and occupy the place because it was obviously not booked. And it was already 5 o'clock. It did not make sense to go back because already बर्फ पड़ी थी. बर्फ में चलना नहीं आता. I was wearing sports shoes. My shoes would get wet. So थोड़ा issue क्या था. तो हम ऊपर गए and we saw that it was occupied. Somebody, this one group from Delhi had already occupied it. So I was like, great. And जो हमारा भी टेंट था unfortunately फट चुका था. So जिसका हम टेंट लेके भी आए थे उसका भी नुकसान हुआ and we would obviously have to give a new tent back to him because we ruined his. And now we were like, अब क्या करें? अब हम 11 लोग हैं. And I was one of the seniors, so I had juniors with me, so I felt like I had this extra, you know, responsibility that I had to take care of these people or whatever. तो हमें ना उसके बाद हमें एक छोटा सा केव सा दिखा. जब तुम त्रियुंड जाते हो ऊपर एक छोटा सा on the right hand side there's like a little temple. Well, it's not a temple, it's just like a shrine that somebody might have built. तो उसके नीचे जाके there was like a little space, एक छोटा सा गुफा सा था that we saw and we like, you know what, we will have to stay here because अब तो कोई point नहीं है जाने का. And नीचे तक जाने में भी we would take about 2.5 hours. And by the time हम नीचे पहुँचेंगे अंधेरा हो जाएगा. It's the first time for all of us, so let's not take that risk. तो हमने अपने जो टेंट्स का जो नीचे मैट्रेस होता है वो वहाँ पे बिछाया. and we were seeing there was like a little hole next to that cave जहाँ पे लोगों ने अपना पुराना सामान डंप कर रखा था, and we quickly realized that the same thing might have happened with them as well, so they left all their stuff and then just went back. तो हमने सब कुछ सेटअप कर दिया, everything was fine, all 11 of us surprisingly fit into that small little cave, and अंदर काफ़ी warm हो गया था because we put the mattress and it was all of us together. And luckily we had Maggie and we had cup noodles and everything with us, so we were like, bhooke to nahi marenge aaj. And then after that, I started to realize that this place was not that safe for 11 of us together, because jis wo cave tha kya tha, I still don't know. If maybe it was man-made, I have no idea. तो जो नीचे उसका फ्लोर था, when you would walk on it, you could feel कि इसके नीचे कुछ नहीं है, it was hollow. So I didn't want to be in a position कि हम रात को सारे सो रहे हैं, that place would just collapse. So I was like, let's do one thing. Let's gather all the girls and let's go up to the guest house and talk to the group if they could keep all of us. And mind you, it was still snowing. तो हम कुछ ना कुछ करके हम रात में अंधेरे में अपनी फ्लैशलाइट ऑन करके बर्फ़ में ऊपर चढ़ रहे थे. And it was still snowing and I could see from there कि नीचे मैक्लोडगंज धर्मशाला में कुछ बारिश नहीं हुई, कुछ बर्फ़ नहीं पड़ी, मौसम पूरा साफ, एंड आई कैन सी द होल सिटी, एंड आई एम लाइक, क्या हमने क्या बिगाड़ा था. And we reached there, we spoke to the people, those guys were very nice and they're like, okay, we'll keep the girls so that the guys can also sleep comfortably and safely at night. And हम जब अंदर घुसे थे, those guys were also about 5 people and we were 5 girls. Yeah, we were 10 people in one room and वो इतना कुछ spacious room था नहीं. So I would say maybe जितना बड़ा एक dining table होता है roughly, that is the amount of space we had for 5 girls to sleep and sit or whatever. Our shoes were wet, our sleeping bags that we had carried were wet, and हमें रात को लग रही थी ठंड, because obviously by this point I don't know how to dress, I don't know what very cold feels like, I don't know how to deal with any of the problems that we are going through. And at that point हमारे पास ऊपर सिग्नल नहीं था, and all of us were so scared. We were like, Jessie, I think one of us got signal in our phone, and we were like, let's just call our parents and tell them something like this has happened, कि ऐसा ना हो कि हमें कुछ हो जाए और फिर बाद में कल फिर पता ना चले किसी को कि हम कहाँ गए. Obviously we were overreacting, but हम सबका first time था, so I think this reaction was totally justified. तो रात को obviously the guys with us, whatever they were eating or whatever doing, they didn't really offer us anything. तो हमारे पास कप नूडल्स थे जो हमने कच्चे रात को खाए थे, and we were like, okay, you know what, it's okay, कल सुबह we will be fine. Hopefully the tea stall wala guy is back, so we can go have some tea and some nice Maggie in the morning. And so कुछ ना कुछ करके हम सो गए. I couldn't sleep at night because and I remember one of my juniors was also crying, and I was like, you know what, it's okay. जब सुबह हुई, I woke up around 6 o'clock because I hadn't really properly slept at all, obviously. And जब हम उठे, I just like peeked a little bit to just hoping कि रात को बर्फ रुक गई हो and सब कुछ जो भी बर्फ पड़ी थी सारी मेल्ट हो गई हो, but it didn't happen. I woke up and it was still snowing. There was still snow and I was like, पता नहीं क्या करेंगे यार, अब हम पता नहीं नीचे कैसे जाएंगे. And I knew this was a Tuesday, and I remember the weather was going to go even worse this day, so we had to leave on that day by hook or by crook. चाहे नीचे जाके slip हो, गिरे, कुछ हो, हमें बस नीचे पहुंचना था. So I gathered with the guys and we were talking about what to do. And जाने से पहले obviously I didn't have waterproof shoes. I think by that time I didn't even know there were waterproof shoes, but on this trek I realized, oh, waterproof shoes होने चाहिए and trekking shoes होने चाहिए. Your running shoes and your trainers are not really a good option when you're going on a trek, especially when you're coming down, because you will kill your toes. I had carried like polythene bags, so जूते मेरे like they weren't like completely not wet, but they were at least fine. But I didn't want my socks to become wet, so मैंने बस polythene bags अपने पैरों के ऊपर पहने, and then I wore the shoes on top of that. So my feet would just be cold but not wet. So this was something very smart that I did. So I gathered with the guys and be like, you know what, सामान बांधो और निकलो, जैसे भी हम नीचे पहुंचेंगे बस पहुंचेंगे. And I remember it was 10 o'clock. Finally stopped snowing, and जो सामने वाले पहाड़ थे उनमें से सामने से बादल धीरे धीरे जा रहे थे, and I saw the first glimpse of such intense mountains. I don't even know how to describe it. I still remember that feeling, the first thing that I felt when I saw that view, and then when I saw those mountains, and I was like, wow, this is unreal. I was like, ऐसे पहाड़ exist भी करते हैं? Like ऐसी जगह होती भी है? Like if it's just this trek, there might be so many and so much more beautiful. And I was like, oh my god, ये क्या है? Like ये मेरे को क्यों नहीं पता था इससे पहले? Like why did I wait for so long to come on this trek or go on any other trek? And why did I not know of this place? तो obviously वो view देख के थोड़ा अच्छा लगा. And I remember back then I knew, so I was so crazy about, you know, everywhere I went I would do a lot of research कि अच्छा त्रियुण जा रहे हैं, वहाँ से सामने धौलाधार रेंज दिखेगी, and धौलाधार के ऊपर there's a pass called Indrahar Pass, and I was like, okay, त्रियुण से आगे 1 घंटा आगे there's a place called Snowline, which is the base camp for Indrahar Pass. I knew this the first time we were going. ऊपर जाके I was like, you know what, the next time I come I will be going for the pass. And obviously that pass looks scary because ऊपर बिल्कुल पहाड़ के, it's like you have to climb the freaking mountain. And I was like, I will do this the next time. We went down and थोड़ा आराम से जा रहे थे because पूरे रास्ते में बर्फ थी. But it was a very, very good trip. I learned a lot, not only about how to manage money, how to, you know, get hotels, what to order in restaurants when you're not with your parents, and just everything. How to manage your money, how to be independent, and how to handle responsibility. Because एक दिन में I was bombarded with so many situations that I had to deal with. I had no other option. This also taught me about how to manage difficult situations and, you know, stressful situations. Yeah, it was amazing. And that is when I knew. जब मेरे को first glimpse दिखा था धौलाधार का, I was like, oops, अब तो नहीं रुक पाऊंगी. That was a long story. That was you know, the turning point in my life. जब मेरे को पता था कि भाई अब तो करना पड़ेगा कुछ, अब तो करना पड़ेगा travel. Yeah, and I did end up doing Indrahar Pass the next year, and I was very proud of myself because that was my first high altitude trek. It was something that I had thought of कि जब मैं first Triund गई थी, I was like मैं ज़रूर करूँगी, and I did it. Small, you know, achieving small goals is also very rewarding. Thank you for watching. This was the first episode of Teatalk with brinds. चाय तो पीनी ठंडी हो गई because story बहुत interesting थी. But never mind, at least I had the tea in front of me. So see you in the next episode. Let's see what we want to talk about. If you want to hear something specific, drop it in the comments below and I will cover that in the upcoming episodes.